being a black musician is very difficult. What is going on, guys? So I wanted to talk about this because a lot of people have reached out to me, and it's been very difficult for me to even come about this topic in a proper format. So I really am going to be unbiased and uncensored because I just want to share my feelings. And so if you have children or whatnot, I advise you to get them out of here, because I might curse or something like that, or say something that you may or may not agree with. You just don't want them to hear, but I'm just keeping it 100% here. So a lot of people reached out to me, have emailed me, called me, DM me, whatever the case may be. They have hit me up about, just the difficulties of African Americans or just black people in general when it comes to creating music or just making YouTube videos and not having the same amount of success as white people on this platform. And, it's just a hot mess, and I don't know how to go about it, but I know a lot of people have referenced the MG the Future video where he talks about like the companies like Native Instruments and Arturia and many other companies not giving the same opportunities to African Americans or black people in general. And, I kind of looked at that because I haven't watched that video. We have had like our disagreements in the past. Really just don't want to get into it because I don't want to feed anything fuel to the fire or whatnot. I just let it be gone. Bygones be bygones, and just not dealing with it no more. So, but, people had asked me about it, and, he said that, and my immediate thought to one of the people, because it's somebody that I really talk to and really mess with in the music industry, if you really consider me a music industry type person, which I'm not. But I will say this, I seen them with black representation. Michael something, I don't know his last name, but I seen his YouTube channel and it's very successful. It gets more views than me. He does some really good creative stuff with the Machine Mark III, and I respect that. Another person that doesn't have as many views as me or as many subscribers is DDS, and he does stuff with Native Instruments as well. So he's represented, he's black. And then also Knox Squared, he has a YouTube channel where he does nothing but old school hip hop stuff, the vast majority of it, and he's black. And then you have Sarah, which is a black woman that does a lot of stuff, and she's represented by Native Instruments and has done many different things for sponsorships and stuff like that. So it kind of shatters that lie or shatters that opinion. So, I don't know how much research he did before he even said that. Maybe I should have watched that video because he might have even made those points. But the point is, I just want to point that out to the people that were telling me about that. And they were saying, man, don't you get mad because, you do all this and you've done like thousands of videos and you help so many people out. And, X person does a video, he copies your stuff, and then he's getting all of this good stuff from these companies and all that. And I look at it like this, like, hey, I'm not even judging it off the fact that I'm black. And if it was the case, that means that I don't want to work really hard to prove them wrong and that they should look at me as a musician. The main thing, if you are a black person and you feel like these companies are not representing you in general, and it doesn't have to be like Native Instruments or Arturia, because Arturia has sent stuff to Mr. Different, and I'm not trying to tell his business, but they did it for reviews and stuff like that, and he's covered it, and so he's black too. So you got to look at it this way, like, don't think of it as a color thing. And it is hard for me because, somebody that's 38 years old, I have a lot of experience with racism firsthand. I have been locked up because of my skin tone, because I've been driving in a white neighborhood, like a predominantly rich white neighborhood in Georgia, and the police officer just pulled me over. Nothing illegal, but I was in the wrong place, the wrong time, and was cuffed and put in jail. Had to deal with that. That's just another thing. That's just pretty much the United States in a nutshell, even though a lot of people kind of just sweep those things under the rug and don't want to look at it from that perspective. And I really hope that a lot of the white viewers or whatever look at certain things like that and don't just be so black and white about it, pun intended. So, like, there is just not, like, racism is gone, and black people are getting outraged for no apparent reason, because there are things like cultural appropriation that is such a thing. Because if you have somebody that is partaking in something, but he is benefiting about something that is about a culture of any type, shape, or form, and they don't care about hip-hop culture or whatever culture that it is, then it is looked at as cultural appropriation at the end of the day, and that is why you are hated. I saw a video on YouTube, and it was kind of like biased, and the person didn't really get why certain people don't look at white MCs seriously, and I was just looking at them like, man, no, it's not that. The problem is that certain people don't have respect, and that doesn't even have to be a black or white thing, because I've seen young black artists look at like people like Notorious B.I.G., Tupac, KRS-One, and many other hip-hop greats as if their opinion don't matter. And as somebody that is an elder, I do get why the young artists or young people, young musicians, only look up to other young musicians, and it's just a community type thing. And that's kind of the underlying regard of it, and the reason why that companies like Native Instruments do get involved with different cultures. In a nutshell, and I'm just using Native Instruments as an example here, because they was brought up to me in a phone call or whatnot. But yeah, these companies don't benefit from just looking at whites only and just doing stuff for them, because obviously black people have money too. We have our own economic system, just like anybody else in every other culture, even though the stereotypes ride and rail that we just like to just spend money on everything in disregard where we spend our money at, and that is not true. And I'm only speaking from my experience, because I live out here in Atlanta, Georgia, and I am a part of a huge, large black community of people that are very smart, very responsible, that give back to the community, me being one of them, because I do have videos that don't have thousands of views, that of me doing charity events, giving away stuff. And they've been overlooked, and it makes me mad. Yes, it does, but I have done it. And the little bit of people that have watched those videos, they understand and they get it, and that's why they come and look at me for sponsorships and me to represent, because they see me as an intellectual that gets it. And that's the way I want you guys to look at it, you young black men, is that you got to keep on striving to be the best that you can be, and don't give yourself an excuse to act a fool or be upset about things. And I understand, I think MG the Future might be a little younger than me, and he might be fed up at the way the world is in certain cases. To him, I just say, before you even did that video, I asked, because I don't know, if he reached out to those different companies and asked them for those opportunities, because sometimes they may not recognize you, even though you are doing excellent stuff on your channel. And you might just want to do that. And I'm not just say that to MG the Future. I say that to anybody that is working hard, that really wants an opportunity. You never know until you ask. So don't just assume shit and just think that because you're a certain color that they're hating on you and that they're giving people opportunities, because there are several channels that are beyond mine that got opportunities because their community is larger, and they represent something that their company may be able to benefit from. Because at large, a major corporation, people think that every major corporation is some person that lives in this big old mansion and they don't care about none of the little people out here. And if they do, you should not, I repeat, should not support that company, that person, whatever they are, for what it is. Like, stop doing that. It's just like how I feel about Floyd Mayweather going and spending money at Gucci, even though he saw that Gucci put out the stuff and he just don't think that is racist or whatever the case may be. And Gucci is a company that obviously does not give a god darn about what is going on in the black world if they are putting out stuff where it looks like cultural appropriation and just disrespectful things towards a culture. So, and if a lot of people from other cultures, if they feel like they're disrespected, they're not going to put their dollars into a company. Just look at the way China looked at Apple when they couldn't get Chinese translation right. And then they had those expensive iPhones out there. And then they had their own companies that they supported out there that cost way less, but is way more efficient for their community. they spent money with them and they didn't spend money with Apple. So Apple then had to move over there to India, which they try to get things right and try to have things like Indian representation in their offices and stuff like that. Because why would you put somebody of a different culture to represent a community that does not represent them? It doesn't make sense. Like, I would get somebody that's Indian to represent somebody in India. It just makes sense, right? So the same thing should happen if it was in China. You should get somebody that is Chinese to represent China if you're trying to get that market out there, along with having decent prices. So yeah, look at these things and be smart of what you say and know of the knowledge that you are putting out there, or the message that you're putting out there rather, is very toxic, or it could be very toxic and also disrespectful, and people will definitely judge you on that. There's a very good movie that came out and it's called The Green Book, and the movie is about an Italian man that does not respect African Americans, that, you know, lives in New York City. Then he meets an intelligent black pianist that is well accomplished, that wants to tour the South. And during that time in the 1950s, by the way, that's the timeline. Goodness, I almost forgot about that. And we all know how difficult it was for African Americans back in that timeline, or even to the point to where singers like Nat King Cole was pulled off the stage and beaten half to death because he was doing music that was considered white. The highly accomplished black pianist ended up hiring the Italian guy as a bodyguard so they can travel down south and go and use the Green Book, which was a book used for segregation so that black people could travel safely without being lynched in the South, in which he only performed for rich white communities that did not care about how intelligent he was or how talented he was, because he still was black or a nigga to them. The Italian guy saw that and he wasn't happy of how he was being treated, because he saw the talent and how great of a person that he was, because he was very helpful for him and his wife's relationship as he was driving them on the road. Reason why I bring up the movie Green Book is that it shattered the Italian guy's opinion of how black people are, and it really helped him to understand that black people do go through a lot, and that there are a lot of things that he could do in himself to improve his community, his society, if he actually starts bringing other black people around and understanding that black people are intelligent. And he even helped the black guy himself, the intelligent black man, understand that black people in general are fantastic people and that they are more than welcome to his music, regardless of him being a classical musician and not just playing something like jazz or rock like Little Richard or somebody, or James Brown or something like that, that there's a form of appreciation. So the lesson in that movie is very intelligent, and I hope a lot of people do see that movie, regardless of me giving a quick summary of it. And it will teach you a lot about community and understanding, and it starts from communication and giving people a shot. So communicate with each other. That's what I want you guys to start doing, and let's start from there. But don't get it twisted though, I do have a problem with culture vultures, because I do not like when somebody is monetizing or making money off of a culture, but yet they are ignoring the social injustices within that culture. Also, I don't like when somebody's trying to tell me what I have experienced in my life and if everything is all right. I really don't like people like that, that just think that because I'm black and that I'm over exaggerating because everything ain't like the 1950s. And that just kind of goes into this realm that I want to talk about as far as a cultural appropriation in hip hop. And, you know, there are channels that are very successful that teach hip hop, but you know, it kind of just goes crazy to me in my mind. And this is something that I might have a little bit of an issue with, when they don't talk about like the culture of hip hop in general. And one of the channels that I really like that do a good, well-rounded explanation of hip hop culture in general is DJ Pain 1. And this is the reason why I like DJ Pain 1. DJ Pain 1 isn't black per se, but in my heart to heart, he understands all of the culture for what it is, and there's a true reason to why he does hip hop, and he loves it for the very reasons why I love hip hop. And we're both older, so we kind of have that respect. And also there's people like DJ Nocturnal, which is white, and I try to interview him on my channel, and you know, we're gonna get to that one day. And he respects the culture of DJing and where it comes from as far as the black side or wherever, hip hop or whatever you want to look at it. And he respects the culture just in general. There is one thing I want to talk about, the support system as far as black entertainment on YouTube. I really have an issue of what people support when it comes to their entertainment, their education or whatever, because a lot of it is destructive and it really is counterproductive to the movement, the evolution of black people in general. And those channels get a lot of attention if they're talking bad about black women or black men or whatever the case may be, or they just do some ignorant stuff. Even though the Breakfast Club does have like educated black people on there all the time, and those videos don't get as much views as like the Birdman interview or the Tekashi 69 video. And yes, I know that Tekashi 69 is Mexican, but whatever the case may be, it's a part of hip hop in general. And it kind of bothers me that, you know, a lot of people make the choice to partake in the ignorant stuff, but this is the way society works. No matter what color you are, the ignorant shit is gonna get the most attention, and that's what really bothers me the most. But you guys have the choice to watch this stuff, and that's the issue. Like, you choose what you want to watch, what you want to see, and if somebody has to be belligerent to garnish your attention versus being well educated, and then you just like, man, you talk too much on some garbage shit, then what's the point? Like, what's the point of my channel even growing even further than what it is? It will be behind regardless of that. And I want to champion the people that are black, that have been doing a great job on here, not being messy and just sticking to the script. And one of them, Busy Work Beats, and it's sad because I misunderstood that young man, and he's been doing a fantastic job with helping many of people of different cultures as well. Me in my position right now as somebody that does stuff on Waves, I've been criticized for being a Waves fanboy, even though I'm very unbiased about me liking or disliking their products. If I don't like a product or something like that, I won't do it. Like, I won't do the review, and perhaps I should, even if it's negative or stuff like that. And, you know, I do speak my mind on a lot of things, and I see that people get upset when I do speak my mind about things that do affect how products are, or whatever the case may be, versus somebody else that might do it from their community, and that they're doing it in the most ignorant shape or form or fashion. They get those views, and they don't get half of the hate that I get. And I do have a problem with that, so that's why I'm speaking on that. And I do represent a lot of these companies out here, and I am perhaps not sponsored by every last one of them, but I do have a good relationship with them to where I can talk to them on a name-to-name basis. And I tell people all the time, if you have any issue or something like that with these companies or something, why not just communicate in a human fashion or in a normal fashion and not be belligerent about it and just going crazy on social media or talking to people crazy, because that's going to not get you anywhere versus you just speaking normal, and that will get you further, and y'all will have a level of respect. Even though me and Image Line don't get along with everything, I do have a nice relationship with Image Line. And yes, I talk bad about the Akai Fire for a reason, because I don't think it's a great product, and I always mention that. But yeah, I really like FL. I mean, you know, it is what it is, and they have taken a lot of things that I have not liked and been very critical about in a professional manner, and they have improved on those things. So in closing, like, be careful of what you watch and what you intake and all that, because it does affect your normal lifestyle. And I do know that, you know, we have like the ridiculous president of the United States. I know some people might be fans of him and they think he's keeping it real 100. I'm not too much of a fan of it, but I am a fan of the fact that he is doing it, because it's bringing out more people like him that do share his views, or even further than his views, because then you can judge people for who they are when they think that they're comfortable enough to be able to be ignorant as well. And that does include the way how certain other people act in other communities as well. So, but I also want to say to MT the Future, I hope the best for you, and I hope that, you know, that you do go back and, you know, talk to these companies and get a further understanding with them. I don't really know your situation that well. I didn't watch the video. I just stopped watching your videos altogether because of the fact that I was accused of taking your videos, even though I have had people actually take my videos from verbatim word for word and that actually have more success. And I do feel like, hey, you know what, their community is bigger, but I'm not trying to make this into like a black or white thing or anything like that, because I feel like, hey, if it is a black or white thing, I won't spend money with these people, and that's what it is. But, you know, it is what it is. It's up to you guys, the end users, of how you are respected, because I already know how it is when other cultures are disrespected. they will not spend no money with them. They won't tune into them. They will cancel them. So you got to be intelligent enough to do that as well.